Hi everyone, it's Miss Cheryl. Welcome to our November project. We are going to do something similar to this picture right here, but it's going to be our own little take on it, because if you're out and about, you'll know that you cannot find canning lids anywhere. So I bought little leaves, sparkly leaves, so we're going to use those. Okay? So first thing we're going to do with our thankful sign is you are going to sand, take a piece of sandpaper, sand all your edges, and sand your top surface that you're going to paint on. And then you're going to use a lint-free cloth, tack cloth, regular cloth, slightly damp, and get all the dust off. And then we will put a stain, and I used Early American Minwax, and I've had this can forever, and all it is to absorb, stop your paint from absorbing into your wood. And since we're going to do like a little bit of like a distressing technique, it'll bring that brown forth when you sand off your paint. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to base coat our board in the off-white. And you don't have to cover your board or anything, because you're going to want to make it look like a distressed look to start with. So you can cover as much as you want in certain areas. Add some water to your paint, it helps it go further. You can go all the way to your edges. You can stay just to the center. Just depends the look you want to get. I'm going to go with a more like distressed look, so I don't want a solid color, or cover I should say. And yeah, just keep adding some water if you want your brush to, like I can go up to the edge and stay away from the edge. And I try to go in one direction. So for this project you're going to need one flat brush for base coating, and you're going to need, hopefully maybe you saved your little piece of sponge from our previous painting, so then you can use that to dab on your stencil. Or if not, if you have like a coarse brush, that'll work fine also. Or I have my dry brush, just any kind of stencil brush. I mean, anything you want to use to dab on your stencil too. So and the lighter you go with the paint and the drier you go with the paint, the quicker it will dry. So you're going to have a piece of burlap going down the middle, so you don't need to worry about this being real covered in the middle. But if you want more coverage higher up, just go over it sparsely in places. Like I said, I mean, unless you don't want to distress it, then you can just leave it as it is. Not a lot of people prefer the antique look, is what I call it usually. So just, it's all your personal taste. And you're going to want, your stain will dry pretty quick, but you might want to do it the night before, because it is kind of a strong smell. I mean, even if you don't want to stain, you don't have to. It just gives a little bit more depth to your sanding. Okay, so we're going to need to let this dry. Before we can sand or do anything, it's going to need to dry. Okay? Brush in the water. So at this time, you will have a piece of burlap. So you're going to want to like pull away some of your strings. Let's see if I can get my better angle. You're going to want to pull away some of your strings. So you're going to definitely want a garbage bag close by. So what you're going to do is, burlap is real easy. You're just going to start and pull. And you're probably not going to want to do it over your wet paint. So I'm going to scoot back just a little bit. And just, you're going to pull strings to give you that rough edge. And you just pull out from that, and it's going to give you that serrated like look. You can go down the sides and just pull from. You can go string at a time, or you can do a couple strings all at once. So you're going to, while your board is drying, it's a good time to do that. So you're going to want a tacky glue, a hot glue gun. I feel tacky glue will work better. It'll last longer. Over my crafting experience, I realized that over the years, when you leave your hot glue gun items for a long time in storage, when you pull them back out, they tend to fall off. So tacky glue works a lot better. And I measured it out roughly, so it should be pretty good to most of your pieces, but you're going to want to lay it down flat and measure to see if your piece of burlap is the way you want. And then, like I said, you have your serrated edges. You can make them as long as you want. And then I had done another one. It's like, and it's just shorter. It's little fringes on the side. It just depends upon your preference, because you're going to put your thankful stencil on top of it. So you just want to make sure you leave it wide enough that your stencil will be, on there. Okay, so now I got to decide which one do I want to use. Do I want to use the longer one, fringy, or the shorter one? I like the more fringe to it. It gives a little bit more character, I think. So, and as it weathers, it'll probably fringe even more. So, okay, and at this time, it's like you have a choice. You'll have a choice between an orange, brown, or a reddish color leaf. And I'm limited on colors and that, so it's like it's going to be first come, first serve. And your leaf is going to be here. So my board is still showing wet marks, so this time is the perfect time to try and see if your paint or your glue will come out. And mine is not cut yet, so let me grab my scissors. Cut off our tip. Put that away. So what you're going to need, I've given you a string to tie on your back. I said, so if this was dry, you're going to want to take, you would put it on your back to hang. You're going to adjust. I gave you extra strings so you can adjust how high you want and how low you want. But the first thing you want to do is on the one side is you're going to want a knot on the end, and when you go, and you're going to need a nice, like a heavier duty like staple gun. I said this is a little bit smaller one, but it's like my husband has an even bigger one, and that'll put your staple so you can put on the back, go through your board and your cord. So let's see if we can get this to dry a little bit faster. It's taking a while. It's still, like, you'll see when it's not dry, you'll see the shininess to the paint in the board. But yeah, I like how I left the edges. So this side's looking. So yeah, you could just take your sandpaper and you're going to sand off some of your areas. And it's just going to give it more of a distressed look in plate parts. Yeah, so then you're going to look at your piece and decide what you like, whether you want it to look which you want as your top and which as you want as your bottom. So just flip it around and see which one you like the look of better. And I think I want this as my top. So then I'm going to take my piece of raffia or burlap, and I'm going to set it on there and get where you might need to trim off some of your fringes. So, and if you want, you can pull off more. And then just take and snip some of the ends off so it fits better on your board. You're going to want to glue this down first, but like I said, if you see where you want to do some more sanding, I'm starting to dry more. But since you pre-stain it, it kind of gives you that darker look. And you can also, you know, when it's done, do like an antique wash over it too, which is a possibility that I would have did, but I think I'm just going to leave it with this look this time. So, but yeah. Fix my work area here. Get a better camera angle. I'm struggling today with my camera angle. Okay, so I got my tacky glue, and I just used a regular, like it's called a Hercules tacky glue. It's not, and I've used all kinds of glue. I said, and you're just going to want to put it on your, you're not going to want to do that, but that'll work to our benefit. Crafting is always a venture. I'm always making some sort of mess. I mean, my first video, I dumped over my whole cup of water. So it's always an adventure. But yeah, and this is supposed to, it'll dry clear when it dries. So, like I said, on my sheet, I always have paper towels available. A wet one, dry one, whatever you're going to need. And mine, it's always both. So, okay, so I'm going to line it up so that it is centered. And you want to get the side that has the least amount of wrinkles in it to go on the one side. You might even want to do like a little shimmy. Let's see if it laid down. Need some more glue over here. Okay, so I'm going to line it up. So that it is centered, and you're going to want to glue this down first. And you want to get the side that has the least amount of wrinkles in it to go on the one side. You might even want to do like a little shimmy. See if it laid down. See if it laid down. Let's see if it laid down. because this end to your right is going to be covered with your leaf, so you're not going to need to worry about that. So get your burlap on there nice and pressed down and centered as best you can, but you know, it's kind of like primitive, so you don't need it perfect like that. But the first thing I'm going to do now, since I have a flat, before I attach my leaf or anything else, I'm going to attach my rope on the back. So I'm going to flip it over, and remember, whatever side you chose as your top, you're going to make sure that is up. So I'm going to put that, this is going to be my top. So my first, you're going to try and eyeball it. I never measure. I'm more eyeball and go. My husband always hollers that I should measure out because it probably would hang better. And I'm just going to take my stapler, press down, and shoot my staple in there. So, and with that little knot in there, that'll keep it so that if it pulls back up, it won't pull out. So you're going to probably want to try and short knot this side to get where you might want and how much you want to hang out. And you'll have to probably cut some off. Depends upon how picky you are. And take the other side. Okay, and then I have a little hammer that you can hammer it down better. And then that way you got your hanger. It's all ready to go. So yeah, if you would wait until your leaf was on there, then it wouldn't be too good for you to get your staple in there. So the next thing we're going to do, we are going to line up our stencil. We have the Thankful stencil. You're going to be peeling off the green and sticking it on to the burlap. You can go at an angle, you can go straight across, however you want, but you're going to roughly think of the position of where your leaf is going to be, and you're going to line up your Thankful. So on the picture that I got my idea from, they have like a ribbon or raffia or something going along the one side. So you're going to want to make sure you leave room for that when you're centering. And this paper is very tacky, so when you peel it off, you're going to watch that you don't stick it to yourself here. So you're going to want to like start with one end, and you might want to trim off extra that you have, just so that it's less chance of having the stickiness. And then what you're going to do too, these little spots in your A, your F, and your L are going to stay on there, so you're going to need to add that to this so that when you stencil, otherwise it's going to be all filled in. So that'll leave you a blank spot. So I think I want to just go straight across. I mean, I would like to do Thankful, but I like the look of straight across because, you know, my luck, I'm probably going to go crooked anyways. So you're going to want to start your peeling. It's just going to fight me. Here it goes. So you're going to want to like maybe peel off only so much and like fold it down and try and get it to where you're going to want to go. Like it'll pull back up, so if you don't like it where you press it, it'll be okay. So then that way you can just slowly unpeel it. So I'm just going to unpeel mine, and it should lift off, because I'm going kind of, I must have tore something. my N and A, but that'll be okay. You can peel that off and put it back on. See, I'm going to go gently. Apparently I went too fast. Okay, so I'm just going to need to add in those pieces. There's my, once you get it set to where you want, you're going to want to press it down, smooth it across. Okay, and you see where mine left some of the sticky on there? So, let me move my leaf out of the way. I'm going to peel that off, and I'm going to put it right where I think it'll go on the L, and then I'm going to peel a little section off from my F. And we're going to have to do my A. Okay, so this little piece of the, between the N and the A, I think goes about right here, because I could see where it's got a little bit of tearing. Yeah, there, thankful. So you're going to make sure you press it down around. So you try not to go heavily with your paint, because otherwise you'll get the seepage through and around. So you're going to take, I'm going to just use black paint and go from there. Oops, say black paint and I pick up the off-white. You're not going to probably need much, so I'm just going to put a little bit. And then I saved my sponge piece that we used from the scarecrow, and I'm just going to dip, just put it on my edge, and I'm going to dab some off on the plate so it's not real heavily loaded. Then I'm just going to dab along my stencil. So I'm just going to get the outline of it. I lied, you're going to need more paint. So just keep applying. You don't want to go on real heavy to start with, because you don't want it to go under your stencil, but you want it heavy enough to cover. Okay, and also if you don't want to use a sponge, like I said, if you want to use a coarse brush, you can go through with your coarse brush and fill it in. Stencil brush, however you want. You can even probably use a regular brush, however you want to fill it in. Okay, all of it will work. And the more that you press, the deeper it'll go down below.
Alright, go back there.
Okay.
Right.
So as you daub, it'll fill in the holes. So you're just going to want to go until you get the coverage you want. And you might want to grab a glove because you will get messy. And that when you do the staining, you might want to use a glove to stain your board. And like I said, you might want to do it outside or something because the stain tends to be a lot stronger than your paint. So it's just like when you seal something, it gives off an odor. So I want to try and see. I'm going to try and get a little bit more up than that. Area. So it'll fill in. Because with the burlap, you're getting it to go down under the burlap so that it's down under where you glued onto the actual board. Okay. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to see. It should just pull. Let's just pull a little bit up and see what we got. I mean, you can even go back over it with a paintbrush if it's not as dark as you want, but I couldn't think of any other easier way to get your letters than to do it this way. So, I mean, it's only going to be a one and done. You're not going to be able to reuse your stencil. And I got a little bit off over there with my sponge, so but where you stuck those little pieces down, you're going to want to try and get under it with your nail and pulls it right up. Let's get this side. One more little piece. Okay, my little piece is kind of blended in. So you could actually go through with, you know, another color and put in those areas if you need to. Like I have a little brush that I can just dip into my antique white where it was and just, it'll just fill in then that area a little bit. And no one will really even know that there was an issue there. And you can dip it also back into your black. So like my T up at the top where it looks like it needs filled in a little bit more, I could just go over it with my paintbrush. Okay. So I was thinking this would be like really cute if you wanted to add like little orange or golden brown polka dots in the background and, you know, distress them. That would look really cute to add just like a little bit more character. You can change it up all you want. You can do like maybe a vine work and put some little like orange berries on it to make it even a little bit more fall looking. But however you want to make it your own, you can. So right now I'm at the point where I'm going to attach my leaf. So you could use your stapler and staple it down so that, look at my nails, so staple it down so that it'll hold better, because I'm thinking that's what we might have to do. But I'm going to get some glue under it first. There's this little nub. There's this little nub right here, so we're going to make sure we cut that off because it had like a hook on there so you can clip it onto something. So that'll help make you put it down lower. So let's just put some glue all over in areas, and then we're going to lay it down. Like I said, it dries clear, so you could, and this is just going to be a little bit of extra protection, but I'm going to use my stapler just so when I have to hold it up to show you, it'll hold in place. Might need to put one down here too. I'm thinking a stapler is a good idea. Okay, I think two will hold it fine. So, what I was going to do, and you could do whatever you want, I have some raffia straps, and I didn't even count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9, 10 strips. I'm going to loop it from around my board, and I'm going to tie I find a lot of times when you're going to make a bow, if you face the bow the opposite direction of what you're going to lay, how you want it to lay down, it will tie a nicer bow. And I don't know what it is. It never fails. I forgot to transfer my phone. So when you're going to pull down your raffia, okay. You just slide that up. Now you can leave your raffia as long as you want, as short as you want. So I think I'm going to start by cutting this much off until I see what length I like, because it's and if you want, you can shorten it, cut it off. Let's see if we can get it. And here's our board. And then you're going to want to probably spray seal it so it'll go outside and last longer. So you can even glue down some of your bow, or however you like. If you like it the primitive look or the rustic, then that'll work. Okay? I hope you enjoy. This is a quick and pretty easy craft for your fall door for Thanksgiving. Thank you. Bye.